I remember many times being in homes where siblings are fighting, are physically aggressive with each other, and verbally just terrible in the things that they're saying. And a parent a lot of times will just laugh and say, oh, well, that's just brothers, or that's just how siblings are. That's how I was with my siblings, and now we're best friends. Yes, siblings do fight. Kids get annoyed, they compete, they push each other's buttons, they argue over ridiculous things. But somewhere along the way, families started believing that if siblings are fighting, that there's nothing that we can really do about it. Or worse, they're just going to figure it out themselves. But here's the problem. Children don't magically learn relationship skills just because they live in the same house. They learn relationship skills because relationships are taught, they're modeled, they're practiced, they're corrected, they're repaired, and they're guided. Home is the training ground for life. The way that our children learn to handle frustration, conflict, compromises, fairness, boundaries, anger, and repair inside of the home becomes the blueprint that they're going to carry into their friendships, their marriage, their work relationships, parenting, conflict resolution, emotional safety. It's all there to learn. That's why I believe we are in families. And sibling conflict matters because relationships matter. And the relationships at home matter a lot. And so, it's not about expecting perfection or constant peace. We can expect that there's going to be growth, and that respect and accountability and safety is happening inside our homes. And that's what I'm here for, especially the safety inside of our homes part. So first of all, sibling fighting is normal. There's normal conflict, there's disagreements, there's frustration, there's competition, there's annoyance, there's learning to share space, there's emotional immaturity. But then there's also unhealthy dynamics that happen. There's cruelty, there's humiliation, there's intimidation, there's scapegoating, constant targeting, fear, emotional or physical abuse that happens between siblings, and real injustice. Not every sibling argument is abuse or bullying. But not every sibling dynamic should just be brushed off as, oh, that's how brothers are, or that's how siblings are. Some children are being deeply wounded inside because sibling relationships are happening that are counterproductive, and adults are just minimizing it. And sometimes one child is repeatedly dominating, controlling, mocking, or hurting another child, and a family member just normalizes it. And it matters. Children should feel emotionally and physically safe in their home. And how you talk in front of your child about their behavior, about their siblings' behaviors, their each other's mental health, all of that matters too. So you might not have to imagine very hard on this, but imagine two brothers, one constantly grabbing, mocks, humiliates the younger one. And every time the younger brother gets upset, the adult kind of laughs and says, "You're just being too sensitive. Boys will be boys. Fight back. Stop tattling." And the thing is that years later, one child learns my feelings don't matter. I don't know. Standing up for myself doesn't work. Another child is learning that I can hurt people and nobody stops me. If I'm bigger and stronger, I can manipulate and I can push for my way. The thing is that we're not just raising kids. We are raising future adults. Sometimes parents focus too much on stopping the noise and we miss the larger lessons. And I get it. Sometimes it is just about stopping the noise. Like, please just stop fighting. Go to separate places. Especially, I had two of my daughters fought like crazy, and it was some days it was just, please stay away from each other. And those were the times when they wanted to be together the most, like, oh no, we'll be okay, right? But helping them both to learn how to interact and how to talk appropriately to each other, even when they are really upset. Sibling conflict is actually one of the best opportunities to teach these life skills. Where else are kids going to learn really how to compromise or to have empathy or where boundaries are or emotional regulation? And somebody that's very close to themselves but not them, that's just outside of themselves. They learn negotiation, they can learn repairing relationships and taking responsibility. Listening, handling disappointment, these are really adult skills. And a lot of times we just expect kids to know it, like, they should just know how to treat their sister better or treat their baby brother better, but we have to teach these things. And they are learned at home first. If every conflict just ends with go to your room or figure it out yourselves or work this out, or you're both going to be in trouble, we're missing opportunities to actually help to help our kids to know where to go. And it doesn't mean that every opportunity, is a need for a lecture. It's a guidance. It's a showing them how we're going to fix this. And there are some times when it's just like enough is enough. You need to also teach your kids when they need to step away. I remember working with one family with 2 kids where the younger one was always getting kind of bullied and manipulated, and but would also stay in there and not learn to move away from the situation. And sometimes that's what we're teaching too. Yes, we're working with this older one on how to behave properly, but we have to help the other kids to know when it's crossed a line where now, like, I'm not okay playing. And children, they need to know how to get themselves calm. They need to know how to communicate when they are frustrated. They need to know how to negotiate fairly and how to tolerate losing, how to share power, how to repair after a conflict. These are all learned skills. These are things that we learn. The goal is not never fight. I don't think that's the goal in any of our relationships, is that we're never going to disagree with each other or never going to get upset with each other. Healthy families are not families where nobody disagrees. Healthy families are families where people learn how to handle conflict safely. And that is a goal. And we have this opportunity to teach this in our families with our kids. Kids don't always have to agree. They don't actually even always have to like each other. And they don't always have to want to play together. And this is the other thing I realized when all of my kids were young is they spend a lot of time together. And so of course they're going to have things that annoy each other. They're going to know each other's buttons to push and all of that. And I can't expect them to always get along or always see everything the same way. And that was part of what we had to learn as a family to handle and to do, and to know when we had pushed too much or asked for too much or manipulated too much, or the older ones trying to get things from the younger ones, and teaching them the respect and the boundaries of each person, no matter what age they are, and helping in them as the older children, learning that helps the younger children to also learn it. They had to learn how to repair, how to make something right. Saying sorry doesn't always cut it when you did something that hurt somebody. Sometimes we have to know how we can make it better, what we can do. And that gives the other person an opportunity to think about, what would it take for me to build, to trust this person, or to be okay with their apology? What do I need? And this is all about how to live with humans, right? This is our first experience here living with humans, and it's not easy. Some siblings do become best friends, and some become respectful adults, and both are okay, because the goal is not forcing this closeness. The goal is healthy relationship skills. I once watched 2 siblings arguing over a game. One screamed, "That's not fair," and the other one yelled back, "You always want to do it your way." And normally an adult might jump in with, "Stop fighting." But instead, this parent calmly said, "Okay, we're going to slow this down. What problem are we trying to solve?" And that just shifted everything. And then the focus became problem solving. And it wasn't about punishment. It wasn't about who said what first, or trying to get the story. Both kids still struggled and still got emotional, and they still needed help, but they were learning, and they had some help in figuring it out. Here's what I believe parents need to stop doing. One is stop minimizing harmful behavior. Don't normalize cruelty. That isn't okay. Stop labeling one child. This is number 2. Stop labeling one child as the problem. Families sometimes accidentally create a difficult child, the sensitive child, the mean child, the victim child. I want you to be really careful about what you say in front of the other kids about another child's behavior. These identities become very dangerous. The third thing is you need to stop demanding instant apologies. Forced apologies without repair, they teach performance and not empathy, and it's just words. Sometimes when we accidentally do something, we can apologize and just say, oh, I'm sorry, I bumped into you, or, excuse me, I'm sorry. But when something was done deliberately and people's feelings were hurt or something got broken, then forced apologies are not going to help. We need to figure out how to help them, what would make it right. Number 4, stop expecting kids to know skills that they haven't learned. And that it's going to take a lot longer than just saying it once or a long lecture on doing it. Many adults still struggle with compromise and regulation and communicating and getting themselves calm enough to communicate correctly. And kids definitely need coaching, and they need help with that. What we should be teaching. First of all, we need to teach emotional language. We need to help kids to be able to say, I need, I want, I'm frustrated, I felt left out, I didn't like that, I don't like that. We also need to teach boundaries. You don't have to like what your sibling said, but you can't hit. We have to teach repair, what we can do to make this better. How do we fix this? What's going to help? We can teach compromise. What solution is going to work for both of you? What should we do now? Maybe we need to take a break, and then we can talk about this again. I really like teaching nervous system regulation. We're going to get calm. We're going to each take a break, and then we're going to talk about this. And pausing it, and you being calm. Even if you have to jump in the middle of it, you're not going to be calm at first. You're going to get everybody separated. We're going to get calm, and then we can deal with it. Instead of trying to deal with it with the frontal lobe, when breathe, reset, try again. These are all things that help us to calm down first, and then do it. Even when one child is coming to you and they're very upset, help them to get calm and then talk to you. We can teach this in family culture. In this family, we work things out. In this family, we're not afraid to say that we're sorry. In this family, we know how to repair. We respect each other. In this family, we don't humiliate people. In this family, we don't dominate weaker people. We're only as strong as our weakest link. We help each other to grow. And this becomes part of our family and our identity. One of the most powerful things as a parent is watching your children years later support each other. And it's not because they never fought. My 2 that fought the most are best friends now as adults. And I know a lot of people say that. And it actually started before they were adults. It started in high school. It started the competition that they felt with each other lessened. And they started knowing how to talk to each other and understand each other and work things out. And they didn't always agree. And there was a period of time where they had limited amount of time that they could spend together without it going sideways. And so I spent a lot of time teaching them. And now over time, they've learned how to communicate, how to connect. They tell each other everything first. And it's just, I love watching that as a parent. Those things don't happen automatically. They're built. It's not just because, they're sisters and they're going to love each other later. They have to care. They have to learn how to do that. If your child is not a good person to other people, doesn't treat other people kindly, it's not going to just suddenly change without some help unless they have decided to do that on their own. And that's what makes it change. There's lots of siblings that don't talk to each other, lots of families that are divided because one person or a couple of people don't know how to get along. And sometimes it's slow, and sometimes it's time after time after time, and sometimes it's really, really messy, and honestly, sometimes it's loud. But families can expect more than just survival. And we can build homes where children learn safety and accountability and empathy and repair and cooperation. It's just going to take a lot more teaching and a lot more going over it. And even though you may think like, they never watch us, we don't talk to them like this. We don't talk to each other, spouses don't talk to each other like this. Where are they learning this? It's still something that they have to learn and process and learn how to treat people. And I don't leave a lot of room in there for it to just be okay. To treat any human being without dignity. And that's something that we just have to learn, even those people that are really annoying to us. These lessons are going to become the most important lessons our children ever carry into adulthood. How to have really good, solid family relationships and how to treat each other. The way we treat people, it stays with us for life.